How does a billion-dollar CEO lose everything over a single kiss at a Coldplay concert? Andy Byron wasn't just any CEO. He was the mastermind behind Astronomer, one of the hottest AI and data ops startups in the world, valued at over $1 billion. A tech veteran, a deal maker, a respected leader. Andy had it all: success, reputation, a clean image. But on one fateful night, everything changed. It was supposed to be a fun night out, a Coldplay concert, with colleagues and friends. As the music soared and the crowd danced, the giant kiss cam screen panned across the audience. Suddenly, Andy Byron and Kristen Cabot, Astronomer's chief people officer, appeared on the screen. The two smiled, leaned in, and kissed. The crowd roared in approval. It seemed harmless, just a fun, spontaneous moment. But in the age of smartphones and social media, nothing goes unnoticed. Within minutes, clips of the kiss flooded social network. By morning, the video had gone viral globally, and by the next week, Andy Byron was out of a job. What happened in those few seconds that could destroy a man's career? Was it just a kiss, or something much bigger? This is the story of how one of tech's most powerful CEOs fell from grace, not because of business failure, but because of a moment caught on camera. Before boardrooms and billion-dollar valuations, Andy Byron was just a boy from the suburbs, the kind of kid you wouldn't look at twice. He grew up in a quiet neighborhood, in a family that valued hard work over dreams. His father was a stern man, a factory supervisor who believed in discipline. His mother worked part-time, juggling jobs to keep the household afloat. Andy was never the smartest kid in the room, but he was one of the most determined. Teachers remember a boy who stayed after class, asking how to improve, how to get ahead. Classmates remember someone restless, always wanting more, always pushing for the next challenge. In high school, he discovered computers, and it was like a door opened. Code made sense to him in a way people didn't. He taught himself late at night, sitting under a dim lamp, the blue glow of the screen his only companion. By the time he entered college, Andy wasn't just another tech nerd. He was hungry. He wanted to build, to conquer, to prove he was more than just the kid from nowhere. Early mentors saw it. The raw ambition, the charm that masked insecurity, the relentless drive. He interned, networked, climbed. Every setback became fuel. Rejection wasn't defeat. It was motivation. By his late 20s, Andy was already moving through the tech world like a storm, first at startups, then at leadership positions. He learned how to command a room, how to pitch, how to win. But beneath the polished surface, the old hunger remained. No amount of success seemed to fill it. This wasn't just about money or fame. For Andy, every victory was a way to quiet the voice in his head, the one that whispered he'd never be enough. Andy Byron's rise through the tech world was fast and fierce. In his 20s, he wasn't just another startup guy. He had something sharper, ambition wrapped in charm, hunger masked by a confident smile. He moved from company to company, Fuse, Cyber Eason, always climbing, always proving, always hungry for more. When Astronomer came into his life, it felt like the perfect storm. A young company with cutting-edge AI technology ready to explode. Andy didn't just join as a leader. He became its face, its driver, its force of nature. Under his leadership, Astronomer didn't just grow, it soared, hitting a billion-dollar valuation faster than anyone expected. Andy became a star in the tech world, featured in interviews, speaking on stages, shaking hands with top CEOs. To the outside world, he was the golden boy, smart, driven, visionary. But inside the company, the picture was more complicated. Former employees described long hours, relentless pressure, and a culture that rewarded results over well-being. Andy could light up a room, but behind closed doors, his intensity could tip into something harsher, pushing, criticizing, demanding more. For Andy, success was never enough. Every win was just another rung on a ladder that seemed to stretch endlessly upward. The deals, the media attention, the praise, they were fuel, but they never satisfied the deeper hunger inside him. By the time he was at the top, Andy Byron had built an empire, but the foundation beneath him? It was already starting to crack. For Andy Byron, success came with a shadow. Behind Astronomer's billion-dollar glow was a culture many called relentless. Former employees described long hours, sleepless nights, and a CEO whose charm could flip to cold fury without warning. Andy pushed his teams hard, sometimes too hard. And while the company's star rose, so did the whispers. Toxic leadership, burnout, high turnover. To the outside world, none of this showed. Andy kept his image spotless, the sharp executive, the family man, the face of modern tech leadership. But inside, cracks were spreading, in the company, in his relationships, and within himself. Then came the night everything shattered. At a Coldplay concert with 65,000 people in the crowd, Andy and Kristen Cabot, his chief people officer, appeared on the giant kiss cam screen. They smiled, leaned in, kissed. The crowd cheered. It looked harmless, playful. But for those who knew the company, who understood their roles, the moment hit differently. By morning, the moment was everywhere. Headlines exploded. Questions flooded in. Was this just fun, or was there more beneath the surface? What did it mean for workplace ethics, for company culture, for leadership accountability? Inside Astronomer, panic set in. The board launched an internal review. Employees whispered in hallways. Andy and Kristen were placed on leave. For Andy, the fall was swift. Within days, he resigned. But the scandal wasn't just about one kiss. It became a symbol of unchecked ambition, of blurred boundaries, of a culture that celebrated success but ignored the warning signs. Andy Byron had built a billion-dollar empire, and in a single, very public moment, it all came crashing down. The days after the kiss cam moment were a blur. At first, Andy Byron tried to weather the storm. He issued no statements, stayed silent, hoping the noise would pass. But the noise only grew louder. Reports surfaced about the internal investigation, about employee frustrations, about a culture long pushed to the edge. The media dug in, former colleagues spoke up, and the scandal became more than just office gossip. It became a public reckoning. For Andy, the weight was crushing. The man who once commanded boardrooms now found himself locked out of them. His LinkedIn account went dark. His name vanished from Astronomer's website. Even his personal life took a hit. Friends distanced themselves. His wife, once proudly listed beside him in public profiles, quietly removed his last name. There was fallout Andy could never have predicted. A man in Ireland with the same name, Andy Byron, was mistakenly identified online, flooded with angry messages, forced to buy his wife flowers to explain. Fake videos circulated, claiming to show Andy's daughter reacting to the scandal, a daughter who didn't even exist. The internet spun its own version of the collapse, layer after layer of myth, meme, and misunderstanding. On July 19th, Andy resigned. There was no grand speech, no final defense, no redemption arc, just an exit, sudden, quiet, and complete. And just like that, one of tech's most admired CEOs was gone. Not because of a failed product, not because of a market crash, but because of a moment, a kiss, that exposed everything Andy Byron had worked so hard to control. Sometimes, it's not the big failures that bring a person down. It's the small human moments that no one was ever supposed to see. In the end, Andy Byron's story was never just about a kiss. It was about power, image, control, and what happens when the mask slips. For years, he raced forward, building, winning, conquering. To the world, he was a success story. But to those closer in, there were always cracks beneath the surface. Cracks that no headline, no interview, no billion-dollar valuation could hide forever. When the fall came, it was fast, brutal, unforgiving. The man who once stood at the top was now a cautionary tale. But maybe the real weight of this story isn't just on Andy Byron. Maybe it's on all of us. We watched, we judged, we shared, we turned a man's most human moment into a public spectacle, a lesson, a meme, a punchline. And in the wreckage, we're left with a question that doesn't have an easy answer. In a world where every moment is seen, captured, and replayed, where does the performance end, and where does real life begin? Was Andy Byron's fall inevitable, or did we help write his ending?